Hello guys, it's me Sanjay here. Warmly welcome you all for this session. So today, what is the topic we are going to focus on is about BJT, which is bipolar junction transistor. Because without transistor, we can't able to work with any switching application. So that's why we are really getting into the transistor right today. Actually, remember this is a daily mastermind session. Daily we used to learn some new concepts on daily basis. So even it is for 20 minutes 30 minutes daily we are really learning some new concepts, so that's what this live is all about. So on that aspect, so here we have this session on the BJT, which is bipolar junction transistor. So first of all, remember this BJT, the bipolar junction transistor, which is like a switch, okay, and which is going to be controlled with the help of a current. Okay, even there are NPN, PNP and all that and all, we are not going to confuse a lot. Just remember transistor, which is going to be acting as like a switch and which is going to be controlled by the current. Two points you have to remember. Now let us take the problem statement. Imagine you have an STM32, any microcontroller, okay, which is going to output only 25 milliampere. Okay, it's just a current, 25 milliampere current, which is going to output. Whereas the motor requires around 500 milliampere. Okay, so imagine your your microcontroller GPU pin, which is going to output maximum of 25 milliamps. That's it. But your motor really requires around 500 milliamperes. So then what will you do if you have connected motor directly to the GPU pin? So that pin will get burned. To solve that problem, we need this component called the transistor. So even though your 3.3 volt 25 milliampere GPU pin can able to control even 12 volt 500 milliampere motor easily by with the help of using one component called transistor. Again, I'm repeating, there is one microcontroller. It can be Arduino, it can be STM32, it can be any microcontroller. There is a GPU pin. So that GPU pin, which is gonna output around 25 milliampere, only it can able to handle only 25 milliampere. So if you are connecting 500 milliampere based motors to that GPU pin, definitely that it can't able to handle. The pin can't able to handle. The pin might get burnt out. So that's why we need a component called the transistor. So by using a transistor, even though your GPU pin is 3.3 voltage, 25 milliampere signal, that can be control, that we can use that pin to control even 12 volt 500 milliampere load, or even 12 volt or bigger kind of motor also we can able to control. So that is why transistor has been required. Vemula Surya, so will it will be amplified? We can't consider it as an amplifier. I'll tell you so that you'll get a clear idea. So whenever you talk about this BJT, the transistor, there are going to be 3 pins. So while talking about the 3 pins, it is going to have a base and collector and emitter. So NPN, PNP, I'll talk about it very soon, but just remember this pin. Like whenever the arrow is going outwards, it is NPN transistor. Whenever the arrow is coming inside, that is going to be a PNP transistor. So while talking about this transistor, there are 3 pins, right? So one is base, another one is collector, another one is an emitter. So while talking about a base, this base is known as a control pin, which is going to receive the signal from the microcontroller, which is going to be helpful for a turn on or turn off. That is going to be controlled by this pin called base pin. Whereas the collector pin, that is the pin where our load is being connected, our motor or relay or LED. So that output, that load which is going to be connected in the collector side. Whereas the emitter, which is going to be directly connected with the ground. So this is what the normal 3 connection: base, collector and emitter. So even while talking about this transistor, there are 2 important types. One is NPN transistor and PNP transistor. While talking about the NPN transistor, it is going to be morely dominated by the electrons. Okay, PNP transistor, which is completely dominated by the holes. So I don't want to go into the very deep level of semiconductor stuff where you will get confused at the end of the day. So instead, what I'm trying to tell is this NPN transistor or PNP transistor, both the things which is going to be a switch. Okay, so that even with a minimal, even with a low voltage, low capacity pin, you can able to control the high voltage, high capacity loads. That and all can be controlled. That's what it's all about. But if you talk about the NPN transistor, So it is going to have an N channel and then P channel and then N channel. Whereas if you talk about the PNP, P channel, N channel and P channel. So remember NPN transistor where it is all completely dominated by the electrons, and PNP transistor where it is all completely dominated by the holes. So these are the two things which is all of. But remember, out of these two, majoritarily we will be using NPN transistors, guys. Why? Because NPN completely the dominated by the electrons as a majority charge carriers. So that's why the NPN transistor, which is going to be used a lot than the PNP transistor. So whenever you are really working with a circuit, whenever you want to do a switching and all, don't get confused whether I should go for the PNP or NPN, NPN or PNP. Please go with the NPN, because NPN, which is completely dominated by the electrons. So electron, which is having a faster performance or anything than the holes. So that's why morely used transistor is going to be called as an NPN transistor. So even while talking about the transistor, I'll show you one amazing, interesting picture so that you will be getting a clear idea. So, ta-da! You can see this picture. Okay, what we already told that it is going to have a 3 pins: collector, emitter, and base. You just see collector is the place water is getting in, and emitter is the place water is getting out. And the base is the knob which is going to be helpful for controlling the flow of water, how much water should flow. So that is all going to be controlled by this knob we have. Same as like you just see the transistor. Whenever you see the transistor, the pin which is going to be a collector, base, and emitter. So collector is the place where your load is being connected. It might be LED, it might be a motor, it might be any relay, anything which is going to be connected in the collector side. Whereas the emitter side, which is going to be connected with the ground. So the base pin, which is the control pin, which you need to connect it with the microcontroller, because that is the place which is going to be helpful for controlling the switch, like on switch, on, off. So that thing which is going to be done with the help of that. So out of that NPN and PNP, we guys have found out that NPN transistors are the morely used transistor than the PNP transistor. Now let us see how it works. Very simple. First of all, the base pin is the control pin, as you already know. So when the base receives enough voltage and current, the path between the collector and emitter, which is going to open up. Okay, for an example, so let us see this diagram. So in this diagram, here we have this collector, emitter, and those things. Just carefully watch this picture so that it will be easy to understand. So when the base receives enough voltage, this base pin, if you are passing up enough voltage there, so the path between the collector and emitter, which is going to open up so that it is going to flow. When the base has no signal, okay, if you are not passed any electricity here, the base has no signal. So no current is going to load from the motor to the motor and those things. So it is going to be at the off position. So now who is going to control the base? The base pin, which is going to be controlled by the microcontroller. So the transistor which is going to control the motor, okay, the transistor which is going to control the motor, that transistor on off state which is going to be controlled by the base pin, which is going to be connected with the microcontroller. Now, this is okay. Like we know that now the base pin is the thing where we are going to control the transistor on off state and all, which is going to be controlled by the base pin is okay. This understanding is okay. But what people are missing out is the base resistor. Remember, whenever you are connecting a transistor, so we know that base pin is the control pin. That is the pin which is going to be helpful for controlling the flow of electricity or controlling the motor and those things. So in the base side, okay, you can't directly connect it with the microcontroller. So in between, it should have one resistor. Okay, it should have one resistor. So a BJT has a current gain called beta or HFE or something. Okay, if you take a transistor like BC547, so that beta which is going to be around 100 to 300. Okay, let us consider like 100 is going to be safe. What it means is, if I push 1 milliamps into the base pin, okay, this is the base pin, right? So if I push 1 milliamps into the base pin, the transistor which is going to allow 100 milliamps through the collector. It is kind of that level. Okay, let us consider like 100 means. So if we are pushing 1 milliamps into the base, okay, the transistor which is gonna allow 100 milliamps through the collector. Okay, small controls big. What do you mean by small controls big? If you are giving 1 milliamps to the base pin, the transistor which is going to allow 100 milliamps to pass through. So if the motor needs 500 milliamps, to be safe in a full saturation, we used to aim for the base current at least around 500 milliamps divided by 100, which is 5 milliamps. So in the base pin, if you are giving 5 milliamps, it is gonna make sure to pass that 500 milliamps in the output side. Guys, are you all really clear? So if you wanted to calculate the base resistor value, how can we able to calculate it? So base resistor is equals to VCC minus VBE divided by LB. So you just see this. Here we have 3.3 volt, which is our VCC. So you just consider this diagram or something. So if your input voltage, which is going to be around 3.3, and then VBE, like VBE is like voltage across base and then emitter. Okay, so that it is going to be around 0.7 voltage or something, divided by 10 milliamps. So the 10 milliamps is the thing, the allowed current which is needed to be passed through, is equals to 2.6 voltage divided by 0.01 ampere, and then we used to get the output as a 260 ohm. So 260, which is the resistance. So the nearest standard value for the 260 is, maybe you can use 330 ohm or 470 ohm. We will be using a 470 ohm into it. So this goes in between the microcontroller GPIO pin to the transistor's base pin. This is how you have to calculate the base resistor. So that is what the resistance, base resistor is all about. Remember, in that transistor, there is going to be like collector, base and emitter. Collector is the pin where the load has been connected. Emitter is the pin where ground has been connected. Base is the pin which is going to be connected with the microcontroller for controlling the switch. But remember, the base can't be directly connected with the microcontroller. Instead, we have to put one resistor in between. That resistor is known as a base resistor. And that base resistance can be calculated by using this formula like VCC minus VBE divided by LB. And then this is okay. Like whenever you are really controlling an LED, you will just put one transistor and one resistor and you can complete the circuit. This is okay. But very importantly, there is some concept called flyback diode. Sanjay, what do you mean by that? Guys, imagine whenever you are connecting a normal LED with the transistor, you will easily put a base resistor and you will do the connection. That's okay. Simple. But whenever you are really having a motor, no, the DC motor, no, there is another component you have to add, which is called the diode. Why? Because before we build the circuit, flyback diode, which is very, very important. Whenever you are really working with the motors and coils, especially if you are using a transistors. So what is mean by a motor? We all know motor is nothing but an inductive load because there is a copper winding inside this. Okay, inside that motor, the magnet and copper, that's what all about the motor is. So while talking about that, whenever you are suddenly cutting off the power supply to the coil, already imagine the motor is rotating. Suddenly, if you remove the power supply, okay, since because of the motion, it will produce the voltage spike in a reverse direction because already the motor is spinning. The copper coil which is striking the magnetic field, it produces some reverse electricity. Okay, whenever it is producing an electricity in a reverse direction, okay, even it is for a few microseconds, so that is going to affect the transistor. Okay, so it is going to affect the transistor and the transistor might get burnt out. So how can we solve that problem? So that problem can be solved by putting one diode across the motor terminal. Ta-da! Like this. So if you have only connected the motor in the collector side, if we have stopped the power supply for the motor immediately, the motor's inductive principle, it will produce the back EMF or back electricity. So that will affect the transistor will gone. Okay. So to solve that problem, you can put one diode parallelly to the motor and then you just collect it with the collector side. So even though you have turned off the power supply, even though some back EMF is getting produced, since we have a diode, we already know what the diode is. Diode which is going to be allow the electricity to flow in only one direction. It is not going to allow that back EMF to affect the transistor. So that's why this flyback diode is very, very essential. Okay, hereafter I think you will work with the transistor in a proper way. Remember, whenever you want to switch, whenever you want to do a switch, for an example, switching in the sense like you have some microcontroller pin where it is working on some minimal current, but we need to control bigger current based load. That bigger current based load can be controlled with the help of minimal current pin that can be achieved with the help of the transistor itself. But even in the transistor, there is a PNP transistor, NPN transistor, but NPN transistor is being morely used because of its electrons domination. So it is very efficient than the holes domination. So that's why we'll be morely going for the NPN transistor. And even while talking about the NPN transistor, the base and collector and emitter. So yeah, arrow will go outside. Okay. And what is the collector pin? That is the pin where load is need to be connected. LED, relay, motor, everything need to be connected in the collector side. Whereas the emitter side, the ground is going to be connected. The base side is the pin which is need to be connected with the microcontroller. But we can't able to connect the pin directly to the microcontroller because we need to control the flow of electricity. So that's why we have to put one resistor. So how can we determine that resistor value? That can be determined by using this formula. We can able to determine the base resistance value based on our output voltage, based on our input voltage, everything based on analyzing all both the things. We have to determine the base resistor. And that base resistor need to be connected between the microcontroller pin to the transistor base pin. So which is going to be helpful for controlling the flow of electricity. And then what if in the collector side, if you are connecting a motor? Here you should be very careful. Why? Because if you are immediately turning off the power supply for the motor, since because of that, like motion, it will produce the electricity in a reverse direction. So whenever it is producing an electricity in a reverse direction, if that electricity directly hitting the transistor, it is gonna cause a problem. The transistor might get gone. It might burst out. So that's why we are putting up one diode parallelly to the motor. That diode is known as a flyback diode. So what it is gonna, why it is gonna be needed and why, how it is gonna be helpful? Because you know that back EMF, the diode which is gonna pass the, which is gonna allow the electricity to flow on only one direction. So whenever something which is coming, it's in the reverse. So this diode is not gonna allow that reverse electricity, so that it is gonna protect the transistor. That's what it's all about. Imagine an IC. What is mean by an IC is, IC means an integrated circuit. So integrated circuit like, okay, let us consider like inside. Okay, while talking about an IC is nothing but an integrated circuit. So that integrated circuit, which is gonna do some operation, even it might be AND or 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 NOT or NAND or any operation it is gonna perform. But what if that on off some state or some functionality should have done? So if that functionality it should have lot of switches inside. So that's why millions of transistors means what? Inside the chip, there will be lot of millions of transistors and switches which is present inside. So that it is helpful for doing some task for us. Because even if you talk about the electronics, electrical or something, it is all on like on off, high state or low state, zeros or 1. So whenever you are really working with that kind of switches like 0 or 1, 0 or 1, 0 or 1, 0 or 1, we need millions and millions of transistors should be present inside the chip. That is what an IC integrated circuit. Okay, I hope my answer found you well, answered you well. I hope you really got it. So I hope you really enjoyed this part of the session as well, guys.